Lessons from the Dog.
Welcome to the Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit Hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Hello and welcome to the Hopefulist. Obviously, I'm going to need to change that intro, and hopefully I will get that done by the podcast next week. Starting out with the quote of the day: "The conscious choosing of your thoughts, beliefs, and words is called mastering your mindset. And master it you must if you'd like to live large and in charge instead of being bossed around by your circumstances." Let that sink in for a minute. The conscious choosing of your thoughts, beliefs, and words. That means you choose them. Don't let them direct you. You direct them. Sounds impossible until you actually start putting it into practice. And you will see, after a little bit of time, you can control your thoughts. Because trust me, if anybody let their thoughts control them for their whole life, it was me. And now things are different. So happy spring. Did everybody, I hope, get a little taste of spring weather over the weekend? It was glorious. Spent a little time sitting out in the sun, reading a book. Oh, the sun pounding on my face. Oh, I'm so excited. I just love sitting in the sun. It's my favorite thing to do. So I played a little pickleball. And after that, I came home and have to sit in the front again. I did actually try to sit in the back a little bit because there was still a little bit of sun back there. Now that the time has changed, we get a little more light in the backyard longer. But there was a cool breeze, and I've talked about this before. That is the problem with living in the shore area in the springtime is the water is still so chilly that any breeze just makes it so much cooler. In fact, when I got up yesterday, I had said to my husband, I'm like, what are they saying about, with the weather? He goes, cooler at the shore, cooler at the shore. It's always cooler at the shore. Now we get the benefit of that in the fall, excuse me, when the water actually keeps the temperatures a little bit higher in this area than more inland. But for this time of year, yeah, it's kind of a drag because you are just dying to get outside, right? So I set up my chair out front next to my house, which was blocking the breeze. So it was a win-win-win. And I got a lot of reading done, and then there was times, you just put the book down and you just tilt your face up to the sun and just feel the warmth. Summer's coming. Spring is here, and summer is coming. So I hope you had a chance to enjoy some of the weather, the warmer weather. Hopefully you got some warmer weather. I wanted to tell you a little bit about something that totally made my weekend. Joe and I typically go grocery shopping on Saturday mornings. And when we got home on Saturday, I saw that I have like a little garden flag right in front of my steps. Somebody had hung something on there. I go and I look at it. It's a clamshell that somebody had painted with our house on it. Turns out it's our neighbor across the water. And not only did she paint this gorgeous shell for me, but she painted a whole bunch of shells with like a little sailboat on the water, and then wrote Beach Haven West, which is where I live. And she made 10 of those and hung them all around the neighborhood. isn't that the sweetest thing? Gotta tell you, it totally made my whole weekend. I was so excited about it. And as you all know, I have a year-round nautical tree, and it went right up on my nautical tree. Found a spot for that bad boy right away. I will post a picture of it a little bit later. So, it's just something simple that totally brightens up your day. And if you're in a position to do that, I urge you to do that, because not only will you make someone else's day, but it makes you feel really good too. Because, of course, obviously she wrote her first name on the other side of the shell, so I had a pretty good idea who did it. And then I, sent her a message right away. I was like, oh my gosh, did you give us a present? So, yeah, one thing that I was truly, truly grateful for over the weekend. Like I said, if you ever get a chance to do something, something simple. I mean, that's not simple for me. I'm not a painter. But, when I had asked her about it, she said quarantine art project. So, think of other people in ways that you can make their lives better. And that in turn will make your life better, make you a happier person. Speaking of happy, today we will be talking about being happy as a dog. That's right. I think we need to change the saying from happy as a clam to happy as a dog, because what makes a clam so happy anyway? They don't seem very happy to me. I've talked before about my pup Tucker and how she's been my greatest inspiration. She is the happiest, friendliest dog I have ever known, and she really has shown me how to be a happier, friendlier person. She actually forced me to be friendly when she was a puppy. We were living in Philadelphia, and she ran up to every single person we came across on our walks in the city. But here's the other thing about Tucker, and most dogs. She is completely and totally herself. And I just couldn't love her any more than I do. Think about your dog, or a dog you had, or even someone else's dog if you've never had one. Weren't they almost always happy? Weren't they always unapologetically themselves? Now think about it. They are really very selfish beings. Give me food, give me treats, give me belly rubs, play with me, take me on walks. And when they don't want to be bothered, they let you know that as well. Tucker now just starts barking at me if she wants to play and I don't respond fast enough. Yes, she is the boss. And yes, she knows it. But why do I let this 12-pound runt boss me around? Well, because she's the best, and I want her to be happy. The reason we give so much to our pets is because they give us so much. That excitement when we walk in the door, the snuggles they wrap you in, their ability to know when you're upset about something and give you that little nose nudge, the happiness we feel at seeing their joy, and that is why we give them so much in return. But the interesting part is they are 100% themselves at all times. And that's more than okay with us. Why can't we be like that ourselves? I know. We are more evolved than animals. We are more complex than animals. And we have so much more complicated lives than animals. But, what if we took a couple of lessons from our furry friends? Like being ourselves completely. Think about the unconditional love you have for your pet. Think about how selfish and needy they are. But think about all they give in return. We can take a cue from them when it comes to living a happy, carefree life. If someone doesn't like my Tucker, well, then clearly there's something wrong with them. But Tucker will either move on or keep at them until they realize, hey, you know what? I do love her too. She doesn't care if she comes across as needy or annoying. She's just being herself, and most people love her for it. She has no worries about whether people like her or not. She just doesn't care. If she runs up to someone and they don't pay her any attention, she moves on to the next person. Wouldn't it be great if we could deal with the people in our lives with such simplicity? But in order to act as ourselves completely and totally, we first have to know ourselves. And how well do you really know yourself? I remember the first time I went to therapy, I was about 30. In my first session, I was asked to describe myself. I honestly couldn't come up with any description words about myself. Granted, I didn't grow up being very introspective. I rarely thought about who I was, why I did the things I did, examined the way I acted. I was a very reactive person. I just went with the flow of things, reacted in ways I didn't even realize. There was always so much more going on with me than I was aware of, as is the case with most people. But once you really get to know yourself, you can decide what you want, how you want to be, and how you expect the people in your life to be. Going back to the quote of the day, the conscious choosing of your thoughts, beliefs, and words is called mastering your mindset. After a few short months of therapy, I could fill probably half a notebook with words that described me. Positive aspects and things I wasn't crazy about. A list of traits that I would need to work on and other things that I was proud of. Among many other things, the words that come to my mind first about myself is outgoing, ambitious, sarcastic, friendly, a bit shallow, too much concern of how people see me, judgmental, all kinds of things in between. I tend to see things in black and white when most things are gray. I jump to conclusions and react badly at times. I learned what I liked about myself and what I didn't. There were things that I wanted to be more of and things I wanted to be less of. But I wouldn't have ever come to any of these conclusions if I hadn't been made aware of who I actually was, which in turn shaped how I acted and reacted in the world. I can tell you this much. I am more my authentic self now than I have ever been. And it's also the happiest I've ever been. There are people who love me, and some, not so much. It's okay. I have my people, and I continue to meet great people to include in my life all the time. I say what I feel most of the time, and mostly that's okay. I still get into arguments and clash with certain people, but now I'm at a point where I have to decide whether it is worth it to disrupt my peace in order to make a point. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Obviously, when I'm with like-minded people, I express myself more freely, while other times I know I'm in the minority in my thought processes, and sometimes I just sit back and listen. For the rest of this week, we will explore how to get to know yourself and then be yourself completely. It's a really brave thing to be yourself, but it's always worth it. Always worth it. If you like today's episode, will you please leave me a review on the platform that you listen, or take a screenshot and share with your friends on social media. Spread the word. The more hopefulists there are in the world, the better we will all be. Make sure to follow my social media this week for more information on getting to know yourself. Join the Hopefulist page and group on Facebook. They are two separate things. And follow me on IG at _Hopefulist. I will be talking to you very soon. Follow me on social. Have a great week and always be badass. I'm right here cheering you on.
Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist, hosted by Wendy McClure. For more inspiration, please visit hopefulist.com. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow on The Hopefulist.